Today is the 3rd of the 3rd. There we go, the 3rd of March. But yes, welcome. I hope you enjoy your horoscopes and I hope you find this presentation to be helpful. Okay, so new moon in Pisces on the 10th of March. This is the final new moon of the astrological year. How exciting! How exciting! Now, I do just want to let you know that I offer some astrology products. If you're interested, there are eBooks available as well as cheat sheets and some merch too. You can find most of my products over on Etsy too. And I do want to give a shout out to my patrons over at Patreon. Thank you for all of your support. If you're interested in joining the Patreon, you can do so by going to the link below. You'll gain access to daily forecasts and behind the scenes content, as well as PDF guides. All right, so let's go over some of the aspects that we're going to be diving into today during this new moon. So the new moon is happening at 20 degrees, and the new moon will also create this sextile to Uranus there. So Uranus is 19 degrees in Taurus. There's pretty much this stellium, right? This cluster of planets in the sign of Pisces during this new moon. In fact, there is a cluster of planets in Pisces currently. So if you are feeling this energy, understandable. Okay, if you're feeling perhaps a little bit more low on energy, more passive, not so active, Pisces season invites some rest. Pisces season invites an opportunity to go within, to contemplate, to really reflect, especially reflecting on the past year, right? Because this is the final season of the astrology year, the astrological year. Now, Mercury will also create a sextile with Pluto, and Mercury will have just entered Aries actually as well. So Mercury will be at 0 degrees in Aries. So yes, creating that sextile to Pluto. So we will look at that. Plus, notice here how the asteroids have something to say. Ceres has something to say as Ceres creates a sextile with Saturn. And then also Saturn opposes Juno retrograde and creates a square to Pallas. Plus, there is this grand Earth trine between Juno retrograde in Virgo, Jupiter in Taurus, and Ceres in Capricorn. So we will look at these aspects. Plus, notice here how Jupiter and Saturn are still creating a sextile in the sky, right? So this is harmonious energy going on between these planets. And then we also see here that Mars and Venus in Aquarius have something to add to this new moon story. So Mars and Venus create that trine to Vesta, but then there's also the square between Vesta and Neptune. And we also see here that Uranus is creating a square to Mars in Aquarius, but Chiron is creating a sextile to Mars. So we're going to get into these aspects. But just to remind you here that this new moon is happening at 20 degrees. We've been seeing this quite a bit during the new moons. So 20 really equates to the number 2 in numerology. The number 2 looks at things like balance, partnership, cooperation, agreement, patience, support. This is this unifying energy, this harmonious energy too. But the other thing about it is this is within the Pisces Scorpio decan. So there's a lot of depth, there's a lot of intensity to this new moon. I mean, this intensity could be where really coming up to this new moon and during it especially, many of us feel run down, or we may feel like we're defeated, right? We may feel like giving up, or we may feel like, you know what, my time here is it has ended. I'm moving on to bigger and better things, or I can recognize within myself what it is that I need for my own spiritual development, my own spiritual growth. Even think about how new moons, of course, look at new beginnings, setting new intentions. But sort of reflecting on this and thinking about then the Scorpio influence at the same time, okay? The Scorpio influence of personal power, of reaching new heights, transformation too. And this is about gaining a fresh perspective and a fresh start within our Pisces house, which we will explore more of as we start to break down these energies. But new moons as well point toward planting new seeds. There's something new being ushered in. The significant thing I want to mention right now is that we're about to approach the waning gibbous moon phase, or the waning crescent moon phase, my mistake. The waning crescent moon phase. So it's going from the third quarter moon, and then waning crescent moon starts to happen. And during this phase, it's about surrender, it's about evaluation. And we're about to approach then the new moon, which is about reflection. And like I said, planting new seeds and starting a new cycle. We are really coming to this new cycle within our Pisces house, but of course, with beginnings comes endings. And I also want to say with this in particular, because this is Pisces, our emotions may very well be heightened, our feelings may very well be amplified, and we may indeed be sensitive, very sensitive. But of course, this is also about becoming somewhat quiet. Okay. Pisces says, quiet the mind, calm your nerves, go within, let go. Don't attach to that thought. Don't attach to that situation. Just be. This is Pisces. This is a new moon, I think, in a very overall sense that says, be guided. Trust this process. Flow. Pisces says flow. The thing about Pisces is this sign that understands that instead of pushing toward the current, it's important just to flow with it. Ride the waves. Yeah, but such matters requires a lot of trust, don't they? Hello, Derek. Hi, welcome. Welcome to this talk about this new moon in Pisces. Hello, how are you doing today? Okay. During the new moon, then, we are going to set intentions. We're going to set intentions when it comes to things like our spirituality, self-compassion, healing. We're planting new seeds when it comes to the likes of the dream, our fantasies, our intuition. But then you see, come December of 2024, the first quarter moon in Pisces will occur. This will be at 17 degrees. And then this will be when our intentions, which we set during this new moon, are tested. They are tested. But we can also strengthen. We can grow. We can learn from such challenges. Then next year, so September 2025, right? 2025, the full moon eclipse in Pisces will happen at 15 degrees, so around the same degree of this new moon. That eclipse will be quite a significant one, notable. Take note, perhaps. Look into the eclipses coming up. That particular eclipse will be when we release, when we reap rewards, when there is clarity actually regarding all of the stuff that's coming up on the 10th of March, around the 10th of March. Just to inform you on that note, that a new set of eclipses will open this September. And the eclipses will open in Pisces, September 2024. So just to let you know that. Interesting times ahead, especially because we have the final sign of the Zodiac involved in these. Then we fast forward more to the third quarter moon in Pisces, and that will not happen until 2026. But during that third quarter moon, what do? We adjust, we learn, we process, we ask ourselves, okay, what have I learned? What have the past couple of years taught me? What's come up within my Pisces house? It's really good then to journal. I always say this, journaling can be really helpful when it comes to exploring our progress. And just to add a little something extra to this, because this is within the Scorpio decan, but then also because this is a Scorpio degree as well. Woo. Focus. How fascinating that we've had these new moons and they have taken place at 20 degrees, a Scorpio degree. How fascinating that 2024 already has been such a transformative year. But yes, focus. And like I was saying earlier, the last new moon of the astrological year is here. This is it. It's time to shed. Interesting, because new moons, like I said, they look at new beginnings, new cycles, a fresh perspective. But this is Pisces. And this is really about endings, letting go, embracing a change, welcoming change, especially when we come into the new astrological year. And we're going to open the new astrological year with eclipses. We got the eclipse in Libra. Then we have the mighty solar eclipse in Aries. It's going to be interesting. More information to come. But during the new moon in Pisces, quiet the mind. Contemplate. Search for meaning from within. And that can be difficult, I know. Especially if you're someone who is feeling extra directionless right now. Perhaps you're someone who is feeling hopeless, sort of like which way do I go? How do I get out of this situation? So, this is also why I believe trust and also faith are big parts of this new moon. But it's also a new moon linked to spiritual connections. How we connect with a higher power. What is it about our own spirituality, our own spiritual practices, our spiritual beliefs? How do we cater to and nurture our spiritual needs? And what are your views regarding a higher power? Do you pray? Do you meditate? Do you practice mantras? Do you set time aside out of your day and perform breath work? See, this is a new moon of healing, emotional healing, spiritual healing. But through such matters, there is clarity. But we gotta let go in order to reach such clarity. What are you resisting? What are you holding on to? What are you afraid of? I think Saturn is also communicating this message. And let's not forget that when it comes to Pisces, it's more about a feeling. It's more about the intuition. Naturally, when it comes to the intuition, there's a lot of noise, chitter chatter. And I think fear comes into it as well, which is interesting because Saturn will be directly opposite Juno retrograde in Virgo during the new moon, both at 11 degrees here. So this chitter chatter I talk about, the fears, the resistance, perhaps this is what we're going to notice then around this new moon. The resistance with respect to relationships and how somewhat critical we can be within our relationships. What would we like to improve? Then again, this could even be related to our own work ethic, our own productivity levels. Or this could even be where there's a part of us that's so like up the nerves, the anxieties, the worries, the stress tied to Virgo. Very much mental, very much in the mind. Worrying about this, that, and the other. But then the opposite part of it, which is Saturn in Pisces, seeks some type of mature clarity and responsibility from within to really look at ourselves in a more psychological level to see what else we're in need of, where else is in need of some healing within us. This indeed is a new moon that will make us look closely at what the chitter chatter is from within. All the noises, the many voices, the many conflicted decisions. Should I go this way, this way, this way? Just the clutter. And how can we organize that clutter? How can we clear it out and recognize what does not serve us, what does not belong to us, so that we can experience greater inner peace? But this is about serenity. This is about knowing when to let go. When a particular work-related matter or service-related matter or health-related matter has run its course. Yes, this is a new moon in which we purify, cleanse. It's heart-centered, taking matters from the mind into the heart, to our gut even. But it's also a new moon of compassion, self-compassion, forgiveness. This is a new moon where we can transcend. We can be vulnerable, you see, as well. We can transcend the things that hold us back. Or perhaps this is also about some type of integration first, acknowledgement, to acknowledge, oh, hey, this is how I'm feeling. Oh, hey, this is really confusing to me. I need clarity with this. But it's also then a new moon of emotional freedom, freedom, perhaps helping us see what types of emotional cycles have outrun their course. Perhaps these emotional cycles are tied to stress. Again, we draw from that opposition. The opposition between Juno retrograde and Saturn is quite strong because they're both at 11 degrees. So yeah, the stress, the intensities, like the intensities regarding work and perfection and all of the worrying and the criticisms, those mental criticisms that can pull us under. So yeah, this is a new moon of great clarity and wisdom when it comes to these areas. So this Pisces stellium will create sextiles to Taurus. We see here that Saturn is creating the sextile to Jupiter, and then the Sun and Moon are creating sextiles to Uranus. So with the sextile to Uranus, I think that whilst we are setting new intentions and planting new seeds within our Pisces house, this is also about the insights we have not considered yet. This is about this strike of change, this strike of inspiration, this surge of creativity. That creativity, that inspiration can be very powerful during this new moon. And then with Saturn making the sextile to Jupiter, this is about building and forming solid images in our unconscious mind. What is the unconscious trying to communicate to us within our dreams? For example, or even thinking about journaling that you do, meditations that you do, spiritual practices you take part in. Is there anything that the unconscious is trying to get through? And I think even with Saturn, Saturn can look at structure, form. So in my mind, when we consider how Pisces is tied to the imagination, it's almost as if our visual world, our ability to visualize, can be a lot more crisp and clearer. We can reconstruct the patterns and repetitive cycles in our unconscious, which will support our conscious mind. And then we can attract the life we desire. Maybe this is a new moon of great deconditioning, but also reprogramming in this regard. But we also got to remember that this, Saturn especially, this is about accountability. Being accountable for our own delusions. And how our intentions then during this new moon can reflect our ability to be accountable. Owning up to our delusions, owning up to when we deceive ourselves, actually, when we deceive others, owning up to our escapist tendencies too, when we avoid, when we deny. This is a highly karmic moon. Saturn's involved, right? Pisces is involved. Neptune is involved. Karma, karma, karma. But it's also a new moon by which we could very well feel uplifted, right? With Jupiter, a part of this. Uplifted, positive. We hope, we pray for a better tomorrow, especially regarding our resources and our security and our comforts. Even thinking about here how Venus is currently making that square to Uranus, so another challenging square to Taurus. Whew. Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus over the past year actually have not been so let's just say fruitful. But hey, this is a new moon where things could very well turn around. And if anything, there's still hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And with Jupiter being the dispositor of this new moon, as I was suggesting earlier, this is a new moon of trust. Trust in where you're being guided, to have faith. Now, the challenging, tricky thing about this new moon is Neptune will make a square to Vesta, so there could very well be tensions within the logical mind. If it doesn't make sense in the moment, we might reject it. So be cautious of that. The thing I think about the intuition and about more of these spiritual concepts is that it's very different to what is logical, to what is rational. So we see here as well, even that Mercury is making that sextile to Pluto, saying, dig a little deeper. Look further than the obvious. Look further than your nose. Get to the heart of the matter. Uncover the truth. Be honest. Be honest about your goals. Be honest about these new beginnings, this next step, right? Mercury, of course, is the dispositor of Vesta, but Mercury here in Aries is very quick and fast. It's about thinking on your feet. But the sextile to Pluto still says perhaps what you are aiming for, perhaps the path ahead isn't so obvious. And you got to dig a little deeper. You got to look a little further. Like I said, Saturn will oppose Juno retrograde. So, indeed, growing up within partnership, this is about exploring the very foundations of meaningful relationships. Whether this be business, whether this be romantic, take a closer look. We must be willing to put in the work and do our part. Now, as I was saying earlier, eclipses in Pisces and Virgo, they're on the way. They're coming. Opening with the full moon eclipse in Pisces in September. And so this is about cleaning house. We will not get away with the same old tricks. Saturn is here to take names. Interesting to think that whilst the eclipses are happening on the Pisces Virgo axis, Saturn's going to be there for the ride. Saturn is going to point to our karma. Saturn says you're not going to get away with any old tricks that you once did, that you're used to doing. They're no longer going to work. Surrender, then, is a big part of Saturn in Pisces. Oh, surrender. Any deceptive behaviors will be exposed, but we can strengthen our relationships by acting with decency, by acting with respect. Now, when it comes to Juno, we got to remember, Juno can look at infidelity, adultery, lies, cheating, stuff like this. So, Saturn, I feel, is also highlighting the importance of, not going down such paths, especially with respect to karma. So Pallas also is creating squares to Saturn and Juno retrograde. Okay, so this is a bit of a T square happening within mutable signs. And this is also where justice and morality come into the mix, right? So we talked about the oppositions between Juno retrograde and Saturn, but then Pallas comes along and it says, okay, morality. Yep. But you see, at the same time, our moral compass may be challenged. This could even be a new moon that says, oh my goodness, I've done the moral thing. I've followed my moral compass. I've done right by others. But here I am, and I'm still being punished. It still feels like I'm not getting anywhere. I show my dedication. I show my work ethic. I go above and beyond. But I do the truthful thing. But then you look out at the world and you see this con artist, this deceiver, this liar, this manipulator, and you think, how's that fair? It's crazy how many people don't actually follow such a, how do we say, respectful path, and they take advantage of others and they're only in it for themselves, very selfish, but yet they still manage to have so much. Ah. So, all of this is to say that this is a new moon where we could very well be angered by all of this. Angered. Such a mysterious life, isn't it? So many things we can't control. But hey, perhaps this is also a new moon that says we can't judge. You know, there's no point really. Then again, any struggles within committed relationships can be addressed by being truthful and by looking at the bigger picture. Exploration and trying things outside of our comfort zone can also be helpful. Maybe this is where we're going to notice some resolutions or resolve, right? Things are going to be resolved. And perhaps at the same time, we can resolve any tensions through the likes of adventure, inspiration, joy. So, going back to my previous sort of example to do with the injustices in the world, what if we could use this new moon to our benefit by redirecting the energy back toward our own joy, our own feelings of bliss, our own happiness? So when we watch maybe something on television or YouTube or whatever it is, we can go, I'll turn that off. And I'll focus on myself, my own path, my own healing. Pisces says, go within, go within, go within. And Gemini, as a sensitive point, invites discussion. Communication. Being able to communicate what is on your mind, but being flexible and open-minded to other opinions too. So, perhaps Gemini says, get curious. Get curious during this new moon about the future, about your dreams, about your wildest fantasies. Get curious and see where your imagination takes you. Allow your mind to wander. And here we are, a grand Earth trine between Juno retrograde in Virgo, Ceres in Capricorn, and Jupiter in Taurus. Earth. Practical. Grounded. Sensations. Tuning into the body. Tuning in with the physical world. Themes also, I think, to do with parenting, to do with marriage, caring for children, thinking about the security sides of caregiving, which of course this doesn't just have to be about children, right? This could be caring for a pet. This could be caring for plants or a project, a team. But this is a new moon that says, okay, I see how you care. I see where you care. But also be sensible, be responsible. Think about the long term. This is a new moon where we can set new intentions to do with planning and consistency. Whatever you're building, whatever you're nurturing and growing, this is a great time to pour your attention, to pour your energy into these things. This is about taking practical steps. It doesn't necessarily mean we have to take practical steps on the very day or around this exact time, but it is about patience. It is about steadiness, taking a sensible, controlled, disciplined look at matters, physical matters, material matters, and seeing the fruits of our labor amplify when we act responsibly, when we are thoughtful of others. Growth and expansion, too, when it comes to our services. Saturn sextile series and Jupiter can also add stability, right? It's saying, hey, I want to create stability for my loved ones. This is also by creating stability for the future we are building. And yeah, must have been a typo there because it says that twice. Still, this is also some positive attitudes. Hopefully, this is a new moon where we can be a little bit more positive about being successful, positive about our achievements and our accomplishments this far. All right, so let's look at Mars. Okay, Mars is doing a couple of things. There's the square to Uranus, there's the sextile to Chiron. And we also see here that Vesta is making trines to the Aquarius energy as well, including Mars. So Uranus square Mars. This new moon, it could be where there's some type of energetic rush or a push or this buzzing feeling, but we're feeling tense, right? Because we don't feel comfortable. This rush of energy is so out of character for us. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit well in our bodies. You know, there's a part of us that wants to stand up for what is fair, but another part that seeks to break away and be free from it all. It's this attitude of just leave me alone. I want to be on my own. I don't want to come out so much. I want to be in hiding. I can deal with all of this on my own. Feeling like we don't belong, feeling like outcasts, other people wouldn't understand. But we can also, of course, use this energy to our benefit. We can use this energy by innovating. We can use it by saying, hey, you know what? Yeah, this is a new moon in Pisces, and I'm feeling a little bit more like I just want to let go, relax, not rush, not jump into things, etc. But we can still use some or draw some from some mental energy by being creative, by being inventive, innovative, just giving it time, being patient. This could be a very impatient energy, actually, where we're just like restless and we want everything done now. And it's like, no, you need to slow it down a little bit here. But it could also, like I said, you know, it could be where there are these uncomfortable feelings or anger, even, you know, frustration and anger to do with this is me and this is my uniqueness and this is what makes me different. But then Mars is also creating that sextile to Chiron, and it says, let me support you by helping you recognize your individuality triggers. How do you react when you don't get what you want, when you don't get your way? Is there an unmet need present there? Can you be upfront about these needs? How do you express these needs? How do you advocate for yourself? I mean, Vesta even adds to this, right? Vesta trine Aquarius says, speak up, speak with conviction, advocate for yourself, reach out to friends who can listen, friends who can be great sources of encouragement. There's something we can learn from the group. There's something we can bring from the group, or bring to the group rather, and take away from the group and apply to our own lives. We can gain some type of feedback from others during this new moon when it comes to any frustrations, any like tension that we feel throughout our bodies. Okay, so we're going to be moving on to your horoscopes. Thank you all so much for being here. Hello to Mo. Hi. Hello to Cav. Thank you for being here. Hello to Pre-Shadow Dragon. Hi. Hello, Misbehaving. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Yes, the beginning of the end, Derek. Lovely, lovely. I like the way you put that. Oh, interesting. With about the April total eclipse will cross paths with the previous total eclipse, marking an X. Oh, it's like um a target. You're trying to finish up two art projects, been working on for 3 years. It falls in your 10th to come to that fulfilled completion. It feels very unfinished. Hey, well, even Saturn being a part of it, there is something quite slow moving about Saturn. But whenever it's finished, right? Oh, you said imposter syndrome you feel is because you don't deserve. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, openings. You're saying about imposter syndrome that, yeah, I mean, I think with Saturn, there can be that side of Saturn where we can just be too hard on ourselves and we can set such high expectations, such high standards. And when we don't live up to those standards, it's like we feel like we fall short as well. And there can be a lot of fears as well tied to Saturn. And, with it being in Pisces, it can all be really overwhelming. I know for me, just drawing from my own experience with it, I have noticed just this overwhelming sense of what is the next step? Where am I headed? The fears of feeling directionless, etc. You said Jupiter had fooled you. Hey, new things are coming, right? New events. Saturn can still teach you great things. Hello, Pernell. Welcome. You said thank God for Saturn. Yes. You're on an adventure, did you say? Oh, that sounds fun. Oh, amen on adventure. Sorry. And Andre, hello, welcome. Peace and love to you too. Hey, yes, pre-Shadow Dragon, yes, hey. And also, hello to Rachel. All right, so we're going to get into your horoscopes now. Thank you for being here this evening, everyone. Right. So we're going to start off with Aries. Aries. So this new moon is to happen in your 12th house. So this is about you gaining a fresh perspective, a new perspective when it comes to your very spiritual essence and your relationship with your spiritual self, with a higher power, even. What is that connection with the divine, with creation? This is also quite a dreamy time for you, Aries. I think this can even be slightly uncomfortable because I think during this new moon, of course, we're coming up to your season next. This is a new moon where you're almost forced to go within. You're forced to contemplate. You're forced to reflect. You're forced to surrender, really, Aries. So the reason why I'm saying that can be quite frustrating, perhaps, is because you tend to be more of a doer, more of a mover, a leader, where you want to take the lead, jump in, make things happen. But I think the new moon is inviting some time to really reflect and think about, okay, well, what is the next step? And trying not to judge that, trying not to overthink that or overcomplicate that too much. But if you are someone who has, an Aries sun, moon, or rising, perhaps, who has actually recognize that you can go through these moments of more contemplation, etc. Perhaps this is a new moon where you're actually going to thrive in a lot of ways, okay? But it's also about spiritual wisdom and healing. It's your own sort of healing, and it's your own personal relationship with that. And what is your meaning within? Going within in search of meaning rather than going outside of yourself in search of meaning. I think Saturn actually has been ushering in these changes for you, which I think has, well, it will, this whole process with Saturn being in Pisces in your 12th, this whole process will really bring more wisdom to your life, spiritual wisdom. But you see, this is also a new moon where Aries, there's a clear out happening. There's so much clear out. This could be unconscious clear outs. This could be clear outs where it's done so in this way where your dreams are very vivid and they're trying to communicate certain messages to you. Cosmic sort of downloads, right? Connecting in with the cosmos and seeing what is to be released during this new moon. And the other thing I just want to mention, of course, is Uranus is creating that sextile to the new moon. So these new intentions that you're setting to do with things like spirituality, the unconscious, especially the collective unconscious, well, I think that at the same time, Uranus and Taurus says, oh, well, insights are coming through. Insights that you have not considered when it comes to your security and your earnings, how you spend your finances, how you manage your resources. There's some type of change that you did not anticipate, that you didn't expect. So yeah, there could be some surprises in store for you, Aries, here when it comes to your physical security. Also when it comes to your self-worth, if we think about it more from an inner perspective. So we're moving on to Taurus. Taurus. This new moon is happening in your 11th house. So for you, this is about you gaining a fresh outlook, a new perspective with respect to any organizations you're a part of, any major industries you're a part of. You know, the 11th house can look at organizations, companies, industries. So it could be that you work for like this big firm, this big organization, and the new moon sort of says, hey, I've been reflecting a lot on this. I'm going within here and I'm considering what the next step is for me within this company and what I want from it and how well am I looked after within it and how would I like to progress, you know, because Saturn has been transiting this 11th house for you as well and has been highlighting these foundations, these strong foundations and structures with respect to group involvements, group participations, how it is that you come across within these corporate sort of teams, how it is that you manage your time effectively, how you show up on the daily. But then I think this is also about any times when you feel very alone, any times when you feel like you're not really involved, like you're not really included, how you wish to even separate yourself in some ways from the group. Because maybe this is also highlighting this tendency of you merging too heavily with the group, with a group identity. So I think this is a new moon where there's some sort of spiritual wisdom that's trying to get through with respect to how you involve yourself as a part of the greater whole, the type of individual that you are within the greater whole. Healing could also be a part of this, right? Some type of healing that you are going through. But of course, this is also about setting new intentions when it comes to such matters. Perhaps this is even highlighting some type of inspiration, growth, emotional maturity on your part, Taurus. How have you outgrown particular organizations and companies? Also, could even be related to friendships, could be related to networks, certain networks that you're a part of, charities that you're involved in. And we also see here that Uranus is in the first house for you. So these matters that I talk about with respect to the 11th house, well, the sextile to Uranus comes along and it says, okay, life path stuff, strong. I mean, come on. Uranus and Jupiter both in your sign, Taurus. It is you that has been reinventing yourself heavily, strongly since 2018. And innovation has been a big part of this. Evolution has been a big part of this. Thinking outside of the box. So, I think that this is a new moon that's going to further amplify such matters and help you realize, you know what? I have outgrown this type of lifestyle. I have outgrown this habitual pattern, this routine, and I'm ready for the change, right? Uranus Jupiter conjunction coming in your sign. Take note of that, Taurus. That's going to be in April. Oh, I actually have a video about it on the channel. So if you want to check out the Uranus Jupiter conjunction, you can do so. Okay, so we're going to move on to Gemini. Okay, Gemini. So this new moon in Pisces is happening in your 10th house. Well, I want to begin. Actually, I want to begin by talking about Saturn because I think Saturn in your 10th house has been especially eye-opening, Gemini. Perhaps also frustrating, annoying. It's like, I'm being blocked. Have to overcome this obstacle. I actually have to work my ass off for this recognition. And of course, this is not to say that you're not hard workers. Oh my goodness, you certainly are. But I think Saturn has been particularly confronting, forcing you to really take a good hard look at your work ethic. And even taking some time to see what feels successful to you. What does success mean to you on a very spiritual, emotional level? And how are there certain influences within your life adding to any successes that you long for? This could be certain managers, bosses. This could be a father figure, for example. But here, during the new moon, this is about you gaining a fresh perspective, a new outlook when it comes to your aims. Well, your achievements, should I say, and your accomplishments. And thinking about anything you would like to really accomplish, especially when it comes to things like your creativity, art, photography, film, media. Thinking also about the likes of, well, working heavily within water, thinking about, the ocean in this way, boating, sailing, fishing, even thinking about the spiritual world, spiritual subjects. So, I think this is a new moon that's going to highlight such wisdom in terms of what your focus is, in terms of what you really want to build for the long haul when it comes to these sort of Piscean subject matters that I just said. Could even be here that many Gemini, there's just a bit of a sense of, oh, I'm not really sure, this way, that way. Okay, even consider the square part of it, I suppose. But yeah, even let's think about it another way. You've got all of the planets above the horizon here, too, Gemini. So, my goodness, Gemini. Indeed, this is about your ambitions. This is about how you present yourself to the world, to the public. And I further want to mention that with Uranus being in your 12th house, making the sextile to the new moon, but you know what? This could be especially electrifying when it comes to your spiritual practices and values too. Getting these sort of lightning bolt hits, these strikes of wisdom and insight, especially when it comes to your resources or when it comes to greater patience, having greater patience. So, yeah, could be quite exciting in a way because it's almost going to feel like so much is flowing into your psyche. And as a Gemini, perhaps you're going to be buzzing with just so many ideas during this new moon, around this new moon, which could be quite exciting for you. Okay, so Cancer, moving on to Cancer. Cancer. Here we see also how the planets are above the horizon for you. So, with the planets being above the horizon, this can suggest that this is a new moon where you're going to be feeling extra ambitious, extra career driven, career focused. If you're not someone who's following a career path, okay, this could just pertain to purpose. I'm talking about purpose. I'm talking about your life path. I'm talking about your life's mission. I'm talking about your life's work, these types of things, right? But see, the new moon is happening in your 9th. Oh, well, many Cancerians are in for the time of their lives. Okay. Because, I want to start here. I want to start here by looking at the dream tied to Pisces. Perhaps in the case of you, Cancer, a big part of your dreams are linked to that of long distance travel. But what I mean by this is, okay, stay with me. I know Cancerians, you love home, family, security. But I think there are these dreams, these longings to do with traveling to faraway lands, seeing different destinations, seeing even what suits you, what suits your taste, what suits your needs when it comes to travel and where you want to live. Could even be that many Cancerians are having a good long think about where they seek to live, about belonging in this regard. Now, this could also be where this is a new moon that ushers in a fresh perspective when it comes to advanced training. That's another area to do with the ninth house. The ninth house can look at where we really, really advance ourselves, right? The training that's involved. We truly step up. We grow up here. So in your case, with Saturn transiting your ninth house, Cancer, you're currently doing it, right? What I mean by doing it is you're learning the lessons when it comes to advanced training that you're taking on. These qualifications that you're aiming for, actually. Think about higher education, think about certificates that you want to obtain. You want to have that sign, that certificate with your name on it, and it says such and such completed such and such, right? And that is evidence, that is proof of your hard work, Cancer. So this indeed could be a new moon where you're setting new intentions when it comes to advanced training, furthering yourself, proving to yourself, hey, I can do this. I'm an expert. I'm becoming an expert. I'm becoming a professional here. And I'm going to be taken seriously. No doubt about it. And so this is a new moon where these changes are being ushered in for you, Cancer. Even thinking about the likes of teaching, preaching, broadcasting, publishing, sharing your message. And we also want to mention that Uranus is creating that sextile to the new moon. So this further adds to what I'm saying, because this is about not only sharing your message, sharing your wider message with the world, but this is also about doing so with a community. This is about doing so with a team. Within a particular organization, perhaps this could be a network that you set up. You're the leader of the network, Cancer. You're the one who is taking charge. But hey, you're going to do so with compassion and kindness, with all that Pisces energy in your ninth. And another possibility, even with this, is insights that you've not considered when it comes to your hopes and wishes for the future, and how such things are linked to your security and your earnings and your materials. Okay, so we're moving on to Leo. Leo. All right, so this new moon is happening in your 8th house. Okay. Still, most of the planets are above the horizon for you. Oh, my goodness. My goodness, we have, let me just double check. We have Leo, we have Cancer, we have Gemini. Whew. All of you are very, very much focused right now and coming up to this new moon, focused on these career matters, purpose-related matters, your life path, your life's mission, all this stuff. So in your case, Leo, with the new moon happening in your 8th house, indeed, this is a new moon that is going to have you really looking at what is buried beneath, what's hidden. Saturn, you see, in your 8th house has been very revealing for you, Leo. Revealing in that you've been taking a closer look at any repressed emotions, at your suffering, anything that you're resisting when it comes to your powerful emotions, anything you're avoiding, anything you don't want to look at and you would rather bury. Saturn is here as a spiritual teacher, as a spiritual guru, I suppose you could say, wanting you to be responsible, wanting you to hold yourself accountable, and to think about the long haul, right? The long haul in terms of your own healing. So the new moon here highlights that you will be setting new intentions to do with your own healing, setting intentions to do with your spiritual wisdom and growth so far. This could very well feel like a heavier emotional experience for many Leos. But what I also want to say about this can be highly creative. Very creative time for many Leos, which I'm sure you may enjoy. Right? With so much of the artistic expression pouring out, and the music, and the sounds. Thinking about even what you dream of, what your dreams are communicating. Now, with that being said, it could be suggested that your dreams are perhaps more haunting or gloomy, right? There could be some really heavy, uncomfortable emotions trying to rise up and come out to be released. So I think this is a new moon that can suggest some stillness, getting into meditative states for you, Leo, to listen closely. Even thinking about any notable changes when it comes to the likes of how you share with others. And this isn't just financially, this is also spiritually, emotionally. This is a new moon of vulnerability for you, Leo. Now, at the same time, with the sextile to Uranus in your 10th house, I can't help but think that this sort of spiritual journey, this unraveling of your emotions and your inner world, these things are heavily linked to that of how you show up within the public forum, how you show up when it comes to members of authority, leaders, people you work with, thinking about your career path, what you want out of life. So in this way, it could be that this is a new moon that's going to help you see what is keeping you back. Where are you resisting the changes? And what have you not considered yet then when it comes to, well, your very professional life in this regard, and how your professional life is very much influenced by your strong needs and desires for security and long-term security. I just want to say that consistent security, having things be very reliable in your life and comfortable too. Okay, so we're moving on to Virgo. Virgo. All right, so this is a new moon that's happening in your 7th house. Even just to touch on this a little bit for you, I mean, so many of the planets are in the Western horizon for you. There's a lot going on for Virgos to do with relationships and partnerships right now. But you see, Saturn transiting your 7th house, Virgo, has suggested some type of restrictions, hardships, limitations to do with partnerships, right? So, for example, I mean, you could be setting your eyes on a dream partnership, longing for this dream partnership, but it's taking some time, right? Saturn says, oh, well, I'm here to teach you a few things first. Obstacles are going to come up. Delays are going to happen. But you see, it could also be in this way that these delays, they can feel emotionally frustrating. Just like, I feel out of control. What am I to do now? What is the next step? The reason why I'm saying this is because Virgo, you like to be in control. And what I mean by this is you like to know that everything has its place. You like to know, okay, it's at this time, okay, what's the schedule? Okay, I'm going to get up at this time. Oh, I have to be here for this time. Dinner is at this time. I can see this is here and that's over there. You compartmentalize things. You place things into these sort of pretty packages. Like, I kind of imagine Virgo as a filing cabinet. But Pisces has sort of been saying, I want you to look across from yourself and notice that it's okay to let go. It's okay for things not to be the way you want them to be. It's okay to not be in control of this situation. And that actually there are bigger, much bigger themes at play right now that you don't see. But Pisces also says, Virgo, can you quiet your mind enough to listen to my messages? To listen to what I'm trying to communicate to you. This could be where Saturn is inviting something actually quite successful and responsible with respect to relationships, actually. Okay. But then again, this is also a new moon that is very healing for you. Forgiveness could be a big theme here to do with relationships. Healing, then, when it comes to relationships, seeing what you've been resisting, what you've been holding on to. Negatively speaking, I just want to say, Virgo, what is no longer yours? What weights do you no longer wish to carry? What burdens do you not want to carry anymore? Saturn can feel like a burden. Saturn can feel like a real punisher at times. And it can't be. I think Saturn can show us where in life we are burdened. Now, when it comes to burdens, we all carry something, right? There's always something that we're responsible for, or there could feel like, there's just a lot that we're carrying, basically. And it's how we as adults manage that weight, how we lighten the load, how we delegate, how we ask people for help, how we ask people for some type of assistance. But if the burden feelings here are sort of pulling at you and saying, hey, you know what, you really do need to take a bit of weight off here, Virgo, I think this is a new moon that's going to force you to listen and to listen well. Now, with the sextile to Uranus, well, this could be interesting. This could be interesting because I think that what this adds to the 7th house story is that of potentially a new opportunity to do with advanced training, to do with long distance travel. There could be something eye-opening, an awakening moment, flashes of insight for you, Virgo, that says, oh, I'm free from this. I don't have to carry this anymore. Great. Right? And maybe even taking a step back. Maybe you're too close to a situation right now, Virgo. You're just too close. You can't see the, what is the term? The forest for the trees, because you're so close to things in this very emotional way. Thinking about relationships again here. And this could be business, this could be romantic, this could be family, this could be friendship. But I think Uranus and even Jupiter add some type of a an ability to zoom out and to see the bigger picture. To see things from a whole different angle, a different perspective. Change, difference, right? To do with Uranus. So we're moving on to Libra now. Libra. All right. So much similar to Virgo, we notice that most of the planets are in the Western horizon for you. This new moon is happening in your sixth house. All right. So what we see here is that, yes, this is a time period of you more so focusing on relationships and partnerships, Libra, which I'm sure you're used to. But you see, I think that this is quite a busy time for you. Quite busy. It's quite busy when it comes to love, romance, children. It's busy when it comes to work. It's busy when it comes to relationships. It's busy when it comes to shared resources. It's just busy. Could have went down this route for all the signs in terms of those 4 main houses that are being activated in the chart during this new moon. It's very interesting, isn't it? But yes, busy, 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 Libra. And in this way, not such a good time for balance. Not really. But maybe we're invited to welcome some balance. So in your case, as the sign of the scales, perhaps you can teach us, help us out a bit. Not physically, not literally, but whenever we think about you as an archetype, we can learn from you. So the new moon is going to happen in your sixth house. So I think that for you, this is about a fresh outlook, a new perspective when it comes to your schedules. What's a priority for you? Really, what's a priority? What's worth your time? What can be left for later? How is it that you're attending to your health right now, Libra? Especially your mental health. Are you making time for spiritual practices throughout your day? You may be trying things like yoga, meditation, breath work. You're doing some mantras, perhaps, Libra. See, I think Saturn transiting your sixth house has ushered in some type of form and structure when it comes to health practices. Even thinking about how you can manage your day effectively, thinking about your productivity levels, your stress levels as well. It's like you can maybe bring more awareness to when you're feeling, very stressed out, very emotional, overwhelmed. Maybe you just need a good cry, Libra. You have needed a good few cries since Saturn's been in your sixth house. But hey, the new moon in Pisces says this is also about searching within, finding meaning within. Or some spiritual wisdom will come through when it comes to your everyday matters, your everyday life, thinking about your tasks and how you attend to them. Your daily rituals too. Like I said, your daily rituals could very well be tied in with spiritual practices right now, and you want to develop that further, right? So this is a new moon that could very well mean you setting new intentions when it comes to these daily rituals. Now, there will be the sextile to Uranus at the same time. So I think that sextile to Uranus will be especially eye-opening and psychological, right? Looking more at the psychological elements, exploring the psyche, exploring your unconscious, maybe also seeing what sudden changes are happening, what unexpected events are happening when it comes to the paranormal, when it comes to esoteric subject matters, thinking about the taboo as well. What is a taboo for you? Maybe there could be a breakthrough when it comes to what is taboo. And that taboo like subject could be linked to sensuality, could be linked to jealousy, could be linked to possessiveness, values, self-worth, these types of matters. So there could be something quite transformative as well for you during this new moon, Libra. So moving on to Scorpio. Scorpio, this new moon is happening in your 5th house. All right. The way I want to approach this one a little bit actually is by addressing the South Node in the 12th for you. You know, I've been saying throughout these horoscopes about how we're seeing that when it comes to certain signs, most of the planets are above the horizon, below the horizon, they're in the western horizon, the eastern horizon. And then I also mentioned that there are these sort of groups of planets and 4 signs. They're sort of bulked up together in this way. So I think with the South Node being in your 12th house, Scorpio, there's a lot going on for you on a more spiritual level. And I think that this can feel highly comfortable for you. This could be where you are attaching yourself more to just being out of the public eye, or being more so behind the scenes, not really involved. Then again, perhaps all this other energy on the other side of this chart outweighs all of this, right? And it sort of says, hey, I get maybe that you want to be comfortable in these spaces and you want to more so take some time to yourself, or to heal, or to rejuvenate, to relax, to recharge, whatever. The other side of the chart says, hey, you know, there's so much going on here, there's so much activity. Right? There's all the family stuff, there's people calling, there's people wanting to know, there's visits, there's changes to do with property, there's things that need to be done within the house. There's all this other stuff to do with creative projects and the things that you're working on. And my goodness, Scorpio, Saturn transiting your 5th house. It's an interesting one because with Pisces in the 5th for you, right? This is like it's like a floodgate just opening. It's just this ocean of feeling and imagination and flow, like you pouring all of your heart and soul into your creative projects. And it's just for the love of it. It's just for that sense of calm, to reset even, right? You could be someone who, you know, your creative projects take you completely out of your everyday life. There's escapism there. But Saturn, you see, transiting your 5th, has said, hey, you know what? I get that. I get you like the whole free flow stuff. But you know what? We're going to bring some form to all of this. Do you know what? We're going to bring some structure. There's a process. We want you to implement this foundation, to see the foundations, to look at building, to look at how you can structure things further. How are things set up from the ground up, actually, when it comes to your creative projects? Take a look at the foundations. Take a look at your intentions. Take a look at the why factor. Why am I doing this? So there's maturity in this. There's wisdom, spiritual wisdom. But you see, the new moon in Pisces is going to come along and it's going to say, hey, do you know what? A new perspective, fresh outlook, a new vision, planting new seeds, right? And moreover, I just want to say that this stuff I talk about to do with the foundation, this could also be linked to that of, right, children, if you're a parent. This could be linked to love, romantic relationships. This could also be linked to your forms of enjoyment, how you entertain yourself. So, just to follow on then from what I was saying a moment ago, right? There's all the family stuff, then there's all of the creative hobby, uh, romantic relationship stuff, but then there's also all the work stuff. Mercury also being in the sixth house during the new moon. And then you've also got the more business like, corporate like deals, contracts, agreements, all these types of things happening for you, Scorpio. Yeah, but still, with the moon being in the fifth house, I think there is just something about centering yourself, like experiencing more of a, okay, it's time to regulate, it's time to go within here. And at the same time, with the new moon making the sextile to Uranus in the seventh, perhaps these matters that I talked about, to do with the fifth house, they could also be associated with, well, what have you not thought of? What have you not tried when it comes to partnerships? Maybe there's some type of new business deal, new business opportunity that you haven't really explored, and then there's a flash of an insight that comes to you, something that you just haven't thought of before, really. Could even be a surprise sort of team up or meet up with another person that could be quite fruitful for you. And this doesn't just have to be about finances. This could also be about more of an emotional exchange, more of an intellectual exchange too. Right, so we're moving on to Sagittarius, but I'm just going to check the comments a minute, see how we're getting on. Nan, thank you so much. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Renaissance of Consciousness, hello to you. So you have a Pisces rising, interesting. Oh, and you said you've got your Gemini. Your sun is in Gemini. Okay, brilliant. Thank you very, very much. Okay, so Sagittarius, let's get into your sign. So, Sagittarius, what we see for you is, all right, we're starting to get into the territory of all the planets then being below the horizon. So this below the horizon part of it is more about the inner world. This is more about reflection, taking time for self, or being able to dive deeper into the self, looking at our feelings and our thoughts. So for you, especially Sagittarius, what I'm saying applies because the new moon is actually happening in your fourth house, right? So this is the fourth house to do with our emotional needs, our emotional well-being, how we regulate our emotions, thinking about our emotional security as well. So how safe we feel and what we need in order to feel protected, in order to feel safe, secure, etc. And it is an interesting one, I just want to say, because Sagittarius, you are known as the sign that is continuously seeking outside of yourself, right? You're known as the sign that adventures off to this place and that place and the other. And you have so many stories to share and experiences to bring to the world. And you do so with such eagerness, and you're a visionary, right? You certainly are a visionary in this way. But you see, on the inside, you're actually very sensitive and very emotional and difficult to read. You're actually really complex and mysterious. And there's a part of you that doesn't really belong to this world, right? There's a part of you that is more connected to, well, the universe, let's say it that way. Or you're interested in your connection with the divine, with creation, with God. You can be highly philosophical, for instance, right? But those philosophies that you communicate, of course, they come from more of a spiritual place, right? So this is a new moon that I think is going to highlight your spiritual essence, the relationship that you have with spirituality, but even thinking about how such matters are linked to that of your family, your heritage, the past. How have spiritual values and concepts been passed down through the family line, for example? Or is it that your own spiritual values have been developed and established because of what you experienced whenever you were young, right? Because you were when you were a child, for example, thinking about the types of things that you witnessed within the home. Did you notice addiction? Did you notice manipulation? Did you notice deceit? There were certain coping mechanisms, basically, I think, for you, Sagittarius, that were put in place as a way to keep you safe. So basically, this is to say, this is a new moon, I think, that will have you gaining a fresh outlook, a fresh perspective about all of the generational stuff, the family stuff, the heritage stuff, but then linking it, bringing it back to your own emotional needs, even thinking about your unconscious tendency of merging quite deeply with certain family members, sort of losing your own identity whenever you're around certain family members, or how that can be reenacted within certain relationships as well. So, a very, very healing time, I think, for many Sagittarians during this new moon. A lot of endings. This clear out, certainly, like a psychic clear out, an emotional clear out, a subconscious clear out. But then I think also with Saturn transiting your fourth house, Sagittarius, Saturn has come along and has said, okay, this is also about how much you have grown when it comes to the family stuff, how much you have outgrown actually certain family dynamics, how much you have outgrown certain generational emotional patterns, these conditioned patterns that just they don't work, they don't serve you very well in the long run. So there's a lot of spiritual wisdom and insight coming through here. And what I also want to mention is that there is that sextile to Uranus in the sixth. So I can't help but think that this is seeing this sort of mind body soul connection in a very honest, open way. And you, even with Jupiter being your chart ruler, being in the sixth house at the same time, Jupiter's making that sextile to Saturn. This could be where you recognize this sort of mind body soul connection, and you have this eagerness, this enthusiasm to want to share what you've been learning, to share what you've been learning when it comes to your health, to share what you've been learning when it comes to your schedules and your everyday routines and your daily rituals, this type of stuff. It's like, this is helping me, right? Sagittarius can be like this. It says, hey, you know what? I tried this. It worked really well for me. I just want to pass it on. I'm trying to share this with you, so yeah, I think that this could certainly be a new moon where there is a lot of self-improvement on your part and just essentially this spiritual development. So we're moving on to Capricorn. Okay, so yeah. Capricorn. All right, so we have another case here of all the planets being below the horizon. And again, very much an internal thing, what's going on. Now, we talked about Sagittarius in terms of more of the emotional reservoir, more of feelings, emotional needs, emotional security. But for you, Capricorn, this is more so about the mind. This is more so about the ways in which you think and how certain patterns are formed, how certain mental patterns, thought patterns are formed. But it's seeing how these thought patterns are deeply emotional, spiritual, and so on. How they are also linked to something much deeper, and they go beyond what you currently know, right now. They go beyond logic, even. They go beyond reason. I think for many Capricorns, this is a new moon that's going to indicate just how much you'll be reading into dream interpretations, exploring more elements of music, writing, poetry, journaling, dancing, painting, moving the body, being in nature, anything to kind of help with the mind, anything to help you escape any matters that make you feel like a prisoner within the mind. So, this is such a time of great healing for many Capricorns, mental healing, mental clarity, and setting new intentions then to do with this whole new spiritual view, this spiritual outlook, and wanting to also inspire with your words, right? To inspire other people with your message, with what you've been learning. There's something very deep and profound about Capricorn. And like I say, it started within the mind. It started whenever you were very young, right? You were so young and you were beginning to walk and talk and process information, really beginning to interact with classmates, your peers, with your teachers, with your siblings. And I think what you realize, Capricorn, is that actually you're very sensitive people. Like, you're very sensitive to criticism, sensitive to the words that other people say, sensitive to judgment. Maybe that's been especially profound for you since Saturn has been in your third house over the past year, where it's like, I'm really sensitive actually to any judgment that I'm receiving from people. And maybe there can be some type of resistance there on your part, because it's like, oh, I don't want to be judged. Oh, I'm afraid of what they're going to say. How are they going to react? Now, with that sensitivity, I think your sensitivity presents itself within your work, within your words. When you communicate, it comes out, the emotional intelligence from you, the emotional wisdom, the emotional understanding and depth that comes out of you, Capricorn. And it could also be with Saturn in the third house that you've been bringing form to your imagination, bringing form to the thoughts you're having. This can be a really magical time actually for many Capricorns, where what they are creating and visualizing within their minds, it's like, whew, I was able to create it in real life because I could see clearly how to get there, and I could see what I needed to do. And also there was a little bit of faith on my side, a little bit of hope, and I was guided. I felt like I was really guided along that journey, along that path. So indeed, this is a new moon, I think, that's going to be highly um insightful in terms of just recognizing how much you've already came, or how much you've already come English, Hannah, English, but you get my point. So with that being said, I do want to mention that there is the sextile to Uranus, right? There's that sextile to Uranus in the fifth house. So let's think about this. The fifth house looks at creativity. It looks at creativity. It's linked to creative projects, hobbies. So in your case, Capricorn, this could very well be a new moon that highlights the changes, the sudden changes and insights to do with these matters, and how they're also linked in with the writing, the reading, the researching, the communicating, even thinking about sibling relationships, how they are evolving for you right now, Capricorn. How relationships that you have with your children are being highlighted during this new moon as well. Hopefully in a way where you're feeling inspired and there's greater opportunity up ahead. Okay, so we're moving on to Aquarius now. Aquarius. So this new moon, it is happening in your second house. So here we see all of these planets below the horizon, and just really, I think it highlights, Aquarius, just how much you are going within right now. And you're doing a lot of contemplating, a lot of reflecting, especially when we think about how Venus, Mars, and Pluto have all been transiting your first house. And there's all of these major shifts happening for you on this psychological level. You've been thinking deeply about the next path, the next stage, the next step within the past, your aims, your goals, your ambitions. What do you want out of life? And to be honest, it could be that you're realizing that just certain ways of doing things, certain approaches, certain avenues just don't do it for you anymore. And you want to reinvent yourself. You want to evolve past this older version of yourself to be like the snake that sheds its skin and grows a new skin. But you see, of course, this is a new moon that's happening in the second house. And Saturn is your chart ruler. So Saturn in the second house here has been quite testing for you when it comes to resources, finances, how you earn money, how you spend it, how you save it. Just kind of feels like you're not really catching a break, Aquarius. It may just sort of feel like no matter what you do, the changes just don't come. No matter how much you try to navigate the physical, financial side of things, it just slips away. So, certainly with Saturn, there are the hardships. But there's also a part of this transit, I think, that's been teaching you about the power of patience. That patience is a virtue. And also, I think Saturn has been perhaps highlighting caution, using some type of caution when it comes to your resources. And maturity too, how you can mature, how you can be somewhat more responsible when it comes to your wealth. Maybe this is also looking at, hey, you know what? You do see that you have a high level of expertise within a certain area. How about you get paid for that? This could even be a certain qualification that you already have. And then maybe the new moon sort of triggers that. What I mean by this is it reminds you of that qualification. It highlights to you, hey, do you know what? I actually do have such and such. Maybe I want to use it. Maybe I want to actually do something with this. What am I waiting for? So the new moon, I think, could be quite eye-opening, especially when we consider the dream in the case of Pisces, the dream when it comes to the types of money you want to earn. Or, let's think about it more we could look at it through, firstly, we'll think about it through skills. We'll think about it through talents, right? This could be a particular skill that you're trying to develop, you're trying to perfect. This could be a certain talent, this gift that you have. Maybe this talent, this skill, this gift is linked to that of spirituality. It's linked to serving others, charity, being hospitable, photography, film, creativity, these types of areas. So maybe this is a new moon that'll welcome a greater vision, a greater dream, and aligning yourself with the dream, believing in the dream. Especially seeing as Saturn is making that sextile to Jupiter. But still, on an inner level, right? Pisces also says, find meaning within. This about spiritual wisdom, go within. This could be in relation to your self-worth, feelings of worthiness, fears to do with self-worth, feelings of inadequacy too, with Saturn there. Where do you not feel good enough, Aquarius? And is there something that you can do, or is there a certain way that you can view these things, in a way where you're not so punishing or judgmental of yourself? And you can practice self-compassion and forgiveness. This is also about healing for you, right? When it comes to your self-worth, Aquarius. Now, at the same time, Uranus, which is, to be fair, one of your other chart rulers, well, it is your other chart ruler. Uranus is in the 4th house, creating a sextile to the new moon. So this could very well be a new insight, a new way of thinking, something different, something quite unexpected when it comes to your family dynamics, how you relate to family, even just recognizing the patterns. Similar to what I was saying to Sagittarius, right? It is interesting because Sagittarius has Neptune transiting their 4th house, and then Aquarius has Uranus transiting their 4th house. So hang in there, Sagittarius and Aquarius. Okay, I'm thinking of you. But yeah, I think with the Uranus part of it, it says the generational stuff. It's bringing back up breaking the generational curses, breaking those cycles, not wanting to repeat the same cycles and patterns, right? So I think that this is a new moon that could very well highlight just how aware you're going to be, or how confronted you're going to be by it all. It's like, whoa, I can't unsee this. I want to evolve past this. I want to be free from this, right? Aquarius, freedom. Interesting to think that both Jupiter and Uranus are in your 4th house, Aquarius. All right, and lastly, we've got Pisces. Thank you so much for being here. Pisces, let's do this. Okay, so for you, we notice here, Pisces, that so many of the planets are in the eastern horizon for you. Okay, so what this is suggesting is that you're going to be highly self-motivated during this new moon. It's more about your ability to act, your ability to advocate for yourself. And hey, when you know this is your new moon, celebrate, Pisces. Oh my goodness, celebrate. Happy birthday, Pisces. It's your season. This is the final new moon of the astrological year, and here we are, Pisces, with you as this star at the center, if you will, because the sun's there as well, right? At the center. But truly, Pisces, this is a new moon happening in your 1st house, highlighting really this, what you always do, I suppose you do so well, and you remind us to do it, is the reflective piece. Your self-reflection, your ability to go within, and think truly about, okay, what is the next step? What is it? What do I want? Where do I feel called to? What's calling my name? My aims, my goals, my ambitions, what do I want to succeed within? And this isn't necessarily about being this go, like super ambitious, super dedicated person. No, we got to say, with Saturn transiting your 1st house, it could be that these sort of qualities are being ushered in a little bit. Or it's like, okay, Pisces, time to establish and develop greater discipline and responsibility, holding yourself accountable. It's time to look at dedication and determination, these types of qualities, right? We love to see it. But you, Pisces, still, you leave room for the mysteries of life. You leave room for the spiritual sides of life. You leave room for the unknown, right? It's like there's a part of you that is open to what is not known yet. Because that I think highlights just the amount of trust that you have. Maybe you don't see it that way. But there could be, in this regard, just a lot of trust that you have in that I don't actually know what the next step is for me, but I'm going to trust that I'm being guided in the way that I need to be guided, and it's going to be right for me. I trust that it's going to work out for me in the long run. So this is a new moon where perhaps you're going to gain a fresh outlook, a new perspective when it comes to these views of yours. Could even be where these views are slightly toughened up a little bit. What I mean by this, it's like, so what I mean by the toughen up part is being able to really get serious right? To really get serious and to be honest with yourself about what needs to be let go of, about what is no longer serving you, what's not doing it for you when it comes to your life path and your direction. Any endings here? There could be significant endings. A clear out, right? A cleanse. Pisces. Pisces is the sign that's all about cleansing, healing, really going within, finding meaning from within. So even though there's all of this influence here to do with self-motivation and being more of a go-getter, etc., it's like driven, all these types of things. Pisces, you're still able to go, oh, let me just dive within myself and really feel this out. So yeah, I would say that this is quite an impressive new moon for you, Pisces, especially because we see here that there is the sextile with Uranus, right, in the third house. So perhaps this is also recognizing just how much your thoughts bring that clarity and how sudden sort of visions and insights welcome change. This could be where you do have many psychic downloads, cosmic downloads. It could feel like there's a surge of energy just rushing through your body in terms of communication and what you really want to say, what your message is. And then you feel like, hey, I've been guided on the right path. I mean, this could be where, and what I mean by the right path is the path that's more so aligned with you, right? What you need. But yes, this could be where there's a certain conversation that you have with someone that's very remarkable and it's inspirational to you. And then you kind of get that, aha, I got it. That was affirming to me. I'm going this way. It could be even a conversation with a sibling, a cousin, an old school friend, as examples. But whatever the case may be, Pisces, this is a new moon, I think, where your dreams are going to be very strong and very vivid. I mean, Pisces, you can already have these strong and vivid dreams, but perhaps they're going to be extra potent, or it's just going to be where your dreams are almost like sending you these messages about your aims and your ambitions. Okay, everyone. So that is everybody. Thank you so much for being here. And I do want to remind you of the Patreon. If you're interested, you can sign up. The link is down below. Thank you so much to my patrons over at Patreon for all of your support. Thank you for listening. And of course, if you want to book a reading with me, you can do so at hannahselsewhere.com. And if you did enjoy this presentation, you can always buy me a coffee. The link is right there. No pressure, of course. And thank you all so much for being here. Thank you. Third Eye Activated, hello to you. Thanks for being here. Renaissance of Consciousness, thank you so much. Mikuru, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Yes, thank you for being here. Yes, you said Pisces, patience is a virtue. Again, thank you, Nan, for your kind donations. Thank you very, very much. But that is me, everyone. I'm going to get going. I hope you have a lovely week ahead and happy new moon in Pisces. Celebrate the end of the year and happy new year to you as well, coming into the new astrological year. Anyway, keep safe. I hope this new moon is exciting for you. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.